Hey, it's Iannarino. At the beginning of this year, I decided that I was going to go back to doing a YouTube video every single day. I wanted to do that, but I went to Florida to get some sunshine, and it turns out that I got a terrible cold, and it's a tough one. So it's like 4 weeks, 5 weeks that you're congested and you don't feel well, but I am feeling better. And what I want to talk about today is the distance between each of the books that I have written and why you might care about this. Okay, so this is the first book that I wrote. This book is The Only Sales Guide You'll Ever Need, an unfortunate title for a person with a 3-book deal. So everybody said when the second book came out, they're like, I thought you said this was the only sales guide. Well, it's not. So this book is really a success book for salespeople, and what it contains is a first half about your character traits. So are you disciplined? Are you optimistic? Do you care about your clients? Do you take initiative? Are you resourceful? Are you able to communicate well? Those traits will cause people to want to buy from you because of who you are, not who you work for, and not exactly what your solution does, but because they trust you because you're the kind of person that people can trust. So this book came out first, and I did it intentionally. I thought this was the most important thing. This is the bedrock. It's the very, very foundation of being a great salesperson. So you start with this one. In this book, I added a number of things to the competency model that nobody else has ever done. So change management, leadership, business acumen. So those things don't show up in books, but it shows up in this book because it's important for you. So I'm going to move this one to the side. As I was finishing this book, that book already had the 10 commitments in it. But I knew I was going to write a book about closing because closing changed dramatically. And another thing happened that made me write this book is I noticed that the sales process that was linear, so it's target, qualified, discovery, solution design, all that, you know that stuff, it didn't work anymore. I would sit down with people and they would want to have a different conversation. For a long time, I had been writing down all of the different conversations that the client needs to have to be able to be successful to do something so that they can get better results. This book came out 10 months after that book, which is not a good way to do books. You should give them more time. Anybody who sends me anything about this book says one thing: I make a lot more money. And it's because you're learning to lead the client. You're flexible enough that if they need something that you can pivot to that, and then you can give them the advice and the recommendations that you should do this now. This book will let you do that better than just anything that I know. So the distance between these two books are very, very close, not just in time, but once you have all of the character traits and the skill sets, now you can start executing a framework that allows you to have a nonlinear sales process that allows the client to get what they need from us, and we get the things that we need from them to be able to make sure they're able to produce the results that they want. Giant companies are buying this in hundreds because of where we are in the environment, and people are recognizing to get market share now in this environment means that you might have to take it from other people who are trying to take your clients from you. This is what I know better than anything else. And the reason I know this one so well, I was a salesperson in temporary staffing. There were maybe a couple hundred companies doing the same thing that I did. Everybody looks like a commodity. And what I realized is that when I had an opportunity to sit with a client, and I had two of my competitors in that same meeting, and I realized that they didn't know anything about temporary staffing. They were salespeople and they have a solution, and all of their companies were larger than mine. It was $3 million for me at that time, and the two people sitting with me were doing $13 billion and $17 billion in revenue. And I realized they didn't know anything that would create value for the client. So I listened to them talk about how big they are, how many offices they have, but that's not what people buy. They buy the outcome. And I knew that, and I had 5 years as an operator. So I understood staffing very, very well. And I figured out that I knew things that my clients didn't know. They didn't know about labor markets. They didn't know what the unemployment rate was. They didn't understand that wage growth was going faster than they could keep up with. I was the person person that came in and sat down and taught them what they needed to do to be successful. This is about creating value for your client, what we call level 4, which means the strategic outcome that they need. In this book, you'll learn how to capture their mind share, how to persist with a prospecting sequence that's all about insights, how to deliver an executive briefing, and then how to become a SME, a subject matter expert. So maybe you have a technical person, they're 100% SME, you're 52% SME, which means you can have a very good conversation with your client without needing a SME with you. So if you can do that, you're going to be in really good shape. In the 2021 Outbound Conference, I decided to give a keynote called Truly Consultative. That turned into Elite Sales Strategies. When I started explaining the idea of being one-up, creating value, and being truly consultative, I was worried that the audience was going to look at this and say, it's manipulation or it's one-upmanship, and it's neither of those things. And as I started to explain the idea that our status as a salesperson matters a great deal. And that means that you and I have to be the person that knows things that our clients don't know, and then we will transfer that to them. This is a strategy called information disparity, which means I know something you don't know. And that's what creates value. When you know things that your clients don't know, and you can help them understand what they need to understand to be able to make the right decision for their business, then you are one up. And if you don't know how to do that, and you have to ask the client about their problems and their pain points, and you're a needy salesperson, you need them to give you a deal, then what you can do is read a book like this so you can figure out how to be one up. And being one up means that you're going to lead the client, and you're going to become a trusted advisor. You're going to do your research, you're going to do your reading, you're going to know things that other people don't know. And if you can do those things, you're going to have an easier time winning deals. So this is the second part of my soul. So this is the beginning of my soul. This is the second part of my soul. These are the things that I know best of all. After writing 4 books for salespeople, I felt like I had to write something for sales managers. So if you're a sales manager, this book is for you. And basically, this book is not very different than The Only Sales Guide. The Only Sales Guide is a competency model for salespeople. This is a competency model for sales managers and sales leaders. So it's all about the foundations for growth, how to lead, how to be effective, and teach other people to be effective as salespeople, and then to have an eye for the future so you can continually generate net new revenue. So that's what everybody wants. This is how to do this. This is practical, tactical. You want to be a great sales manager. 15 chapters in here. Each chapter is like the Only Sales Guide. You're going to get one thing, and you'll be able to execute it after reading and practicing this. It will do more to help you get better control over your sales team and your results than anything else. Now that's 5 books on sales. That's a lot of books on sales. So I decided that I was going to write a book on negativity. In fact, it's a book about positivity. So it's how to get rid of your negativity by going on a negativity fast. This book is very, very important to me. And this came out in 2023. It's a USA Today bestseller like The Only Sales Guide. If you are anxious, if you're stressed, if you are negative, if you're around negative people, this book will help you understand how to remove the sources of negativity so that you can be more positive more of the time. So this doesn't mean that you're never allowed to be negative. Look, if something bad happens, negative might be the right thing to be. If someone's hurt and you're worried about them, you should probably be negative. So this is not saying that you're not allowed to be negative. This book has people sending me notes saying that this helped them feel a lot better, and especially when they get rid of the politics. So if you stop looking at MSNBC and Fox, you don't want to believe that your neighbors are your enemies, this book will help you very much. I'm writing the 7th book right now called AI Edge with Jeb Blunt. We're doing that book together. If any of these books sound like they're the right thing for you, if you need a competency model to be a better salesperson, if you need a non-linear approach to dealing with your clients, if you need to displace your competitors and beat them for deals, Eat Their Lunch is your thing. If you want to be really good at discovery, elite sales strategies, if you're a sales manager, leading growth is for you. If you're a human being on planet Earth, Negativity Fast is for you. All right, that's what I got. Do good work, and I'll see you soon.